at the Capitol to thank those national
Still,
guard
oh,
troops
okay,
that
all
moved
right.
in.
All right, I'm back, and I'm holding it sideways. So let's watch this together.
Traveling, thanking the troops, and conducting the duties of the office. Savannah.
President Trump arrives in Florida. Wow. Well, I would say former President Trump arrived in Florida. Wow.
56 minutes left.
My word is, I don't understand this.
It's remarkable. We talk about the transfer of power, and literally.
So honestly, I don't understand this, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. You know, so.
Things that most of us don't have to think about on a daily basis. Suddenly.
But yeah, excuse me. I don't know who watching this, honestly, you know. So like they said, be careful what you say on TV. You know, you never know who's watching, you know. My mama watching this from heaven. Alex Trebek is watching this from heaven, you know. Alex Trebek didn't even know I exist. Steve Scalise made it out there. I wonder if Bill Cassidy and John Bell Edwards is out there. Or should I say Governor Edwards, you know.
President Trump has taken a long last look around and saying goodbye to some of the staff members who work on Air Force One and who certainly he's gotten to know over these last 4 years.
Certainly a journey that Donald Trump has made many times aboard this plane or its twin plane between Washington and Florida, spending a lot of time at Mar-a-Lago. And there is President Trump.
Yeah. There's Melania and Donald, you know. Right there, y'all see that? Y'all see them? And look over here. It's a split screen. Because Trump arrives in Florida. All right. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's see what happens right here. On both.
Trump has changed into her Florida fashions for the occasion. She left Washington, and it's cold for the sunny skies of Florida, and has changed her wardrobe accordingly as they will drive off. But as you mentioned, 60 minutes and counting until we have the president.
And what was it he said at the end of his remarks today? I'll be back in some form.
He said, "I'll be back in some form."
In some form.
And definitely did not give any indication he plans to leave the political stage, but in what form that takes, we'll see. And now we see the Trump children descend the staircase. But this is the moment where the split screen goes away, and all eyes go on the United States Capitol.
All right, there we go.
We're about to inaugurate a new president and the seat of government.
All right, I'll be right back. Well, I'm not about to stop this live. I want to fix something.
We've got 6 of the 9 Supreme Court justices in attendance. The 3 oldest justices are not there because of pandemic concerns. We have congressional leaders, and we have about 1,000 guests, which is about a 20.
Well, I'm watching YouTube, but I'm mostly watching it in
security concerns.
Oh, I missed that. You know, I wanted all that to be shown on the Dominoes 7 show, Dominoes 7 Facebook Live.
That we would come to expect from an inauguration.
I think about putting this Facebook Live together, but I guess I probably will, or I probably won't do it. If I did it already, I did it already. If I didn't do it already, I didn't do it already.
Quite a bit, and
you know.
Again, as mentioned,
yes, indeed, y'all. Yes, indeed.
To President Trump,
you know.
But because people, supporters of the president, were led to believe that there was anything.
Watching the inauguration.
To change the election. And
yeah, this is the ceremony right here.
Because he did not possess the
awaiting inauguration ceremony. So other people gonna be probably gonna be watching this show, my show, and stuff like that. You know.
Mr. J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, is going to be performing at this inauguration.
I heard him.
Well, Lady Gaga, you know, she gonna be performing too. You know.
Super Bowl is one
So
thing, but
wait.
this is indeed, and Lady Gaga is going to be performing the national anthem.
You know, this is a like the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, y'all,
What's taking place at the Capitol, former president.
I wasn't planning on filming myself watching the inauguration at first, you know, but I decided to watch it, you know, and I'm pretty sure Katie Moore, Sharice Gibson, and and other people is watching. Natalie Shepard, I wonder if you watching it. I don't know if you're watching this show.
That's Eugene Goodman,
All right.
who has been given the honorary designation
All right.
today.
So, anyway, my best friend watching, So she probably watching from a job. Hey, buddy. Okay. She watching my show. Okay. So anyway, I don't know when it's going on YouTube, but it's going on YouTube. But I don't know when. Okay. All right. So anyway, y'all, do y'all want to listen to me or listen to the lady on TV? I'll shut up. Long as there's no copyright infringement, though.
Soon to be Vice President Kamala Harris.
So many images of that day, and so many of them horrifying, but that was
all right.
certainly one of bravery and quick thinking and all the things that we would hope in a horrible situation like that. And so,
so anyway, my best friend watching me. I wonder if she gonna watch this show again, because this gonna be saved. Long as I don't accidentally delete this live stream, If I accidentally delete this live stream after I record it, it's gone forever. This will be gone forever. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna try my best to save it. Okay. I'm gonna try my best. My mom watching this from heaven. Alex Trebek is watching this from heaven. So you know what?
The acting deputy House Sergeant at Arms Kevin Grubbs. And the acting deputy Senate Sergeant at Arms, United States Capitol Police Officer, Private First Class Eugene O. Goodman.
All right. I need to buy me a suit. I need to buy me a suit. I need to buy me a tie and everything, just in case I wind up interviewing a governor or whatever, I'm not gonna interview them in street clothes, Honestly, my mama want me to dress nice. If I ever do interview the governor,
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President-elect of the United States, Kamala Debbie Harris, and Mr. Douglas Emhoff.
All right. My hands is full. I would clap to them if my hands wasn't full. Yeah. Excuse me. All right. So I don't own the copyright. I don't own this video or whatever. I own my voice and all that, So no copyright infringement. Anybody else got? Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that was sweet. If that's Obama, oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's Obama right there.
Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, as she and her husband Doug Emhoff take up their position.
I was in. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I met former President Obama around my house. He took a trip here in New Orleans. I shook his hand.
With Barack Obama, in which he was always the last voice and the last person in the room.
Hey, buddy, you probably was at work at the time.
Because he's going to be president.
If my close friends still watching this, you must have was at work at the time.
In Washington, that there was really no prescribed duties, but it's become in the last few administrations quite important, quite momentous. We mentioned Joe Biden. You have to mention Dick Cheney under President Bush. It was hugely influential.
Excuse me.
So Kamala Harris certainly
just a little irritation in the throat.
And just the magnitude of what needs to be done when you're talking about an economic
all right
travails.
I think you was at work at the time when former President Obama came around here. That was 2015. I shook his hand about a year before his term was up.
As we know, the first woman of color will take the oath, and she will take the oath first, we should note. Momentarily, we expect the introduction of the president-elect and Dr. Jill Biden. Their family there, as you can see, enjoying
Look at that.
moment, or trying to stay warm, or both.
I must say, almost everybody's happy, you know.
Heaters up there on the platform.
Well, there's one good thing about masks. They do keep your face warm, so perhaps that's one plus that they otherwise...
That's one giving another one.
I'll give you one, right?
And I'm hungry. I gotta eat.
Yes, protection from COVID.
I need to eat something. I should have ate breakfast before I done this.
That has happened, at least these moments right now, Chuck, feel like the inaugurations that we've seen before and that hallmark of American democracy that people in this country have come to count on.
I'll be honest. This
So nobody don't call me while I'm doing the show.
Last hour just to see,
You know?
the normalcy of people in both parties participating in this. I mean, look, it's a necessary elixir, and I think it in many ways is why Joe Biden won the election. It was sort of this feeling that he
Chuck tied.
can create a moment, a unifying moment. It's him that he has the right.
Moderate meet the press.
Has the right perspective. He almost is. He's been
Man, I'm
through
so hungry.
much himself that gives him the right level of empathy the country is desperately looking for here. And I'll just be honest. This is just. It's nice to hear the patriotic music. I mean, we took some of this for granted until 2 weeks ago. I'll be honest. And so I have looked at all of this through a different set of eyes since January 6th today. Andrea?
Yeah, I covered Congress for many years, and I've been up on that podium, and seeing this restores a sense that we're okay. We're going to be okay. The country's going to be okay.
Andrea Mitchell, the chief Washington correspondent, is talking now.
We've worked together, and now you have Mitch McConnell and others coming out. There is a bipartisan note. I saw a note earlier from Marco Rubio that the reason
Oh, look at this. This is a history-making moment.
Coming through.
You know what? To me, Joe Biden looks like Bob Barker. To me.
Avril Haines, who had her confirmation hearing yesterday and overcome any Republican objections.
As we watch the president-elect, soon-to-be president, and soon-to-be first lady approach, and we saw the congressional leaders, I do think, Chuck, to pick up on what you were talking about, there is that almost feeling of defiance, institutional defiance. Congress saying, wait a minute, you attacked us 2 weeks ago, but just as they came in the late hours of the night and completed their business on January 6th, this is a continuation of that thread.
And Dimes is not even watching my show right now. She's at work. Maybe she's watching this from somewhere else. You know.
And there does feel like there's that defiance.
Yeah, maybe this is gonna be on her news feed when she get on Facebook.
I want to share with
She
you,
don't.
Savannah, I want to pick up on this. I want to share with you.
She don't log on Facebook
Pretty high up in the Bush administration.
on the computer
A
anymore.
couple weeks ago, he said,
I don't even think she have a computer at her house. If she do, I didn't know.
You know what?
I never been to her house.
Did work over these last 4 years. They
You
got
know?
bruised, they got beaten, and we've seen, but we're in some ways, and almost today itself is a reminder. As much as we thought, oh my God, look how vulnerable our system is to sort of crumbling. A lot of the institutions, while they were battered and bruised, whether it's ours in the press or Congress or other
Oh,
institutions,
look like it's snoring out there. Huh?
held up.
Is it snoring out there?
And this person said to me, you know what? I don't want to share his name.
Yeah, it's snoring out there.
A lot of problems. But he sort of said, you know what? In 20 years, we may look back at this in the same way we look back at the McCarthy years and say, you know what? The system worked. We weeded it out.
Yeah, weeded it out.
And this morning, right now, is a reminder, our guardrails did.
But what they saying?
Weather may be a different story. We're seeing a few little snow flurries out there, and we're starting to see some of the introductions, more congressional leaders coming in. I'm squinting at the screen to see who we can identify, but any moment now that we know that President-elect Biden and soon-to-be First Lady Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, are on the move inside the Capitol and about to make their big entrance.
And we're going to hear remarks shortly from Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri on behalf of the inauguration committee.
Well, I must say, what they about to say now?
Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., and Dr. Jill Biden.
All right. Yay! Woo! Well, I would say President Joe Biden. Yep. I wish Tanya was who was watching my show. I don't know if she watching this show right here. I'm not talking about my show. I'm talking about the inauguration. Oh, Adeptus best friend. Yes, indeed. Joe Biden and Obama are best friends. You know, take my word for it. Yeah, take my word for it, y'all. Yep. Y'all gotta take my word for it, you know. Yep. Take my word for it. They are best friends. You know. Uh-huh. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Let's see what. All right. All right. What's gonna happen?
Please welcome the Honorable Amy Klobuchar.
Amy who? Oh, okay. Let's see what she's about to say.
Vice President Pence, President-elect, Madam Vice President-elect, members of Congress and the judicial branch, former presidents and first ladies, vice presidents, leaders from abroad, and a whole bunch of Bidens. America, welcome to the 59th presidential inauguration, where in just a few moments, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will take their solemn oaths. This ceremony is the culmination of 244 years of a democracy.
Okay.
It is the moment when leaders brought to this stage by the will of the people promise to be faithful to our Constitution, to cherish it and defend it. It is the moment when they become, as we all should be, guardians of our country. Have we become too jaded, too accustomed to the ritual of the passing of the torch of democracy to truly appreciate what a blessing and a privilege it is to witness this moment? I think not. 2 weeks ago, when an angry, violent mob staged an insurrection and desecrated this temple of our democracy, it awakened us to our responsibilities as Americans. This is the day when our democracy picks itself up, brushes off the dust, and does what America always does. Goes forward as a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all is correct. That's what I'm talking about.
This conveyance of a sacred trust between our leaders and our people takes place in front of this shining Capitol dome for a reason. When Abraham Lincoln gave his first inaugural address in front of this Capitol, the dome was only partially constructed, braced by ropes of steel. He promised he would finish it. He was criticized for spending funds on it during the Civil War. To those critics, he replied, "If the people see the Capitol going on, it is a sign we intend the Union shall go on." And it did, and it will. Generations of Americans gave their lives to preserve our republic in this place. Great legislation to protect civil rights and economic security and lead the world was debated and crafted under this dome. Now it falls on all of us, not just the two leaders we are inaugurating today, to take up the torch of our democracy, not as a weapon of political arson, but as an instrument for good. We pledge today never to take our democracy for granted as we celebrate its remarkable strength. We celebrate its resilience, its grit. We celebrate the ordinary people doing extraordinary things for our nation, the doctors and nurses on the front line of this pandemic, the officers in the Capitol, a new generation never giving up hope for justice. We celebrate a new president, Joe Biden, who vows to restore the soul of America and cross the river of our divides to a higher plane. And we celebrate our first African American, first Asian American, and first woman vice president, Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
On the shoulders of so many on this platform who have forged the way to this day. When she takes the oath of office, little girls and boys across the world will know that anything and everything is possible. And in the end, that is America, our democracy, a country of so much good. And today, on these Capitol steps and before this glorious field of flags, we rededicate ourselves to its cause. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce to you the senator who has worked with me and so many others to make this ceremony possible. My friend and the chair of the inaugural committee, Missouri Senator Roy Blunt.
All right, let's see what he got to say.
Well, I should have known when Senator Klobuchar got involved, at least there'd be a touch of snow up here this morning. Of all the things we'd considered, I don't think snow was on my agenda until I walked out the door a moment ago. But thank you, Senator Klobuchar, and thanks to the other members of the Joint Congressional Committee on the Inauguration as we officially begin the 59th inaugural ceremony. I also want to thank the Joint Committee staff and our partners, particularly our security partners, for the way they've dealt with unprecedented circumstances. When I chaired the inauguration 4 years ago, I shared President Reagan's 1981 description of this event as commonplace and miraculous. Commonplace because we've done it every 4 years since 1789. Miraculous because we've done it every 4 years since 1789. Americans have celebrated this moment during war, during depression, and now during pandemic. Once again, all three branches of our government come together as the Constitution envisions. Once again, we renew our commitment to our determined democracy, forging a more perfect union. That theme for this inauguration, our determined democracy, forging a more perfect union, was announced by the Joint Committee before the election with the belief that the United States can only fulfill its promise and set an example for others if we are always working to be better than we have been. The Constitution established that determined democracy with its first three words, declaring the people as the source of the government. The Articles of Confederation hadn't done that. The Magna Carta hadn't done that. Only the Constitution says the government exists because the people are the source of the reason it exists. They immediately followed those first three words with the words to form a more perfect union. The founders did not say to form a perfect union. They did not claim that in our new country nothing would need to be improved. Fortunately, they understood that always working to be better would be the hallmark of a great democracy. The freedoms we have today, the nation we have today, is not here just because it happened, and they aren't complete. A great democracy working through the successes and failures of our history, striving to be better than it had been. And we are more than we have been, and we are less than we hope to be. The assault on our Capitol at this very place just 2 weeks ago reminds us that a government designed to balance and check itself is both fragile and resilient. During the last year, the pandemic challenged our free and open society and called for extraordinary determination and sacrifice, and still challenges us today. Meeting that challenge head on have been and are healthcare workers, scientists, first responders, essential frontline workers, and so many others we depend on in so many ways. Today we come to this moment. People all over the world, as we're here, are watching and will watch what we do here. Our government comes together. The Congress and the courts join the transition of executive responsibility. One political party more pleased today and on every inaugural day than the other. But this is not a moment of division, it's a moment of unification. A new administration begins and brings with it a new beginning. And with that, our great national debate goes forward, and a determined democracy will continue to be essential in pursuit of a more perfect union and a better future for all Americans. What a privilege for me to join you today. Thank you. I'm pleased to call to the podium a longtime friend of the President-elect and his family, Father Leo O'Donovan, to lead us in an invocation. Please stand if you are able and remain standing for the national anthem and the pledge to our flag.
All right. I'm going to stand up too. Okay, so anyway, whoever this is about to speak, so I'm standing up right now. I'm thinking that guy that went away, I thought he was gonna stand. I mean, say speak. So he have a speech.
Gracious and merciful God, at this sacred time we come before you in need, indeed on our knees. But we come still more with hope, and with our eyes raised anew to the vision of a more perfect union in our land, a union of all our citizens to promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We are a people of many races, creeds, and colors, national backgrounds, cultures, and styles, now far more numerous and on land much vaster than when Archbishop John Carroll wrote his prayer for the inauguration of George Washington 232 years ago. Archbishop Carroll prayed that you, O Creator of all, would assist with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude the President of these United States, that his administration may be conducted in righteousness and be eminently useful to your people. Today we confess our past failures to live according to our vision of equality, inclusion, and freedom for all. Yet we resolutely commit still more now to renewing the vision, to caring for one another in word and deed, especially the least fortunate among us, and so becoming a light for the world. There is a power in each and every one of us that lives by turning to every other one of us, a thrust of the Spirit to cherish and care and stand by others, and above all those most in need. It is called love, and its path is to give ever more of itself. Today it is called American patriotism, born not of power and privilege, but of care for the common good, with malice toward none and with charity for all. For our new president, we beg of you the wisdom Solomon sought when he knelt before you and prayed for an understanding heart, so that I can govern your people and know the difference between right and wrong. We trust in the counsel of the letter of James. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Pope Francis has reminded us how important it is to dream together. By ourselves, he wrote, we risk seeing mirages, things that are not there. Dreams, on the other hand, are built together. Be with us, holy mystery of love, as we dream together. Help us under our new president to reconcile the people of our land, restore our dream and invest it with peace and justice and the joy that is the overflow of love. To the glory of your name, forever. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Joe Biden about to speak? Or something else? What's gonna happen? Y'all raise the flag. So,
ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of our national colors by the Armed Forces Color Guard, the singing of our national anthem, and for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, I got my hand over my heart, y'all. You know? Yep. I love this music, y'all. But don't take a knee for this, y'all. I got my hand over my heart right now. You know? I got my hand over my heart. Yep. 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 This is beautiful music right here. You know. I know I'm supposed to be quiet with this. You know. All right, now I'm quiet.
Ladies and gentlemen, here for the singing of our national anthem, accompanied by the President's own United States Marine Band, please welcome Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. The beautiful Lady Gaga, ladies and gentlemen. It's like this is our first time making an appearance on my show, but this is not my show, you know. She beautiful, y'all. All right. Look like she in tears, huh? Yeah, here we go. But to let her know that I have a. Oh, let me move this out the way. That was wonderful. All right. Lady Gaga, that was wonderful. This is for you. So I had to drop the camera and clap, you know. All right. So I'll do a round of applause on the recording, okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the city of South Fulton, Georgia Fire and Rescue Department, President of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 3920, Fire Captain Andrea M. Hall, for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's wonderful. All right.
What you are all about to be part of America is a historic moment of firsts. To administer the oath to our first African American, our first Asian American, and our first woman vice president, Kamala Harris, it is my great privilege to welcome to the inaugural stage the first Latina to ever serve on the Supreme Court of the United States of America, Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Sotomayor. All right.
Remain standing for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yes, indeed. This is so wonderful right here. Yep. So next, Joe Biden gonna be sworn in. You know, they go, Mr. Mike Pence, Mr. Pence. You know, he's a great guy. You know. All right, now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please welcome Jennifer Lopez to perform This Land Is Your Land and America the Beautiful, accompanied by members of the President's Own United States Marine Band.
All right. Look at that. Beautiful J-Lo. Uh-huh. I wanted to say that I got a couple of Lady Gaga albums. I also got Jennifer Lopez as well. J-Lo. Love Don't Cost a Thing, you know. Waiting for Tonight. I'm Real. Got all that, you know. This is wonderful. Music like this. I love this.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
I love this song.
California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking down that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. Oh, this land, oh, this land. This land was made for you and me.
Just in case Kirsten mom or Auntie is watching my video, I would like to say I would love for Kirsten to sing this song and Dominique Henry to sing this. They are beautiful voices, you know.
From sea to shining sea. Una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Let's get loud. This land was made for you and me.
Congratulations. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but this is also for you. Sorry about that.
Well, that was great. The sun is shining, and Mr. President-elect, this is the first inauguration in the history of America where J-Lo was the warm-up act for Chief Justice Roberts. With that, it is now my distinct honor to introduce the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, John Roberts, to administer the presidential oath to the next President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
Even though I'm not there, I'm standing up right now. I'm not joking around. I'm not kidding around, y'all. See, oh, somebody crying, a baby crying, you know.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Oh man. Oh, she picked a fine time to call. Hello? gentlemen, and now is not the time I'm watching the organization. I'm doing the video. All right then. So sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, and that number I'm not gonna tell y'all who I should have had that remote. I'm sorry, y'all, but that she I should have called her. I mean, I should have just told her before I was doing it. She called at the wrong time. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
I don't know who that was. I don't know if y'all heard that in the background, but if y'all watch this video, if y'all watching it right now, y'all probably heard the background. All right. I should have told her to call me later, because I don't want our conversation. I'm sorry about that number. I'm not gonna say who that was that called. Okay. I hope nobody don't.
My fellow Americans, a moment we have all been waiting for. It is now my great privilege and high honor to be the first person to officially introduce the 46th President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden Jr.
All right. No more President Trump. President Biden delivers inauguration.
Chief Justice Roberts, Vice President Harris,
Vice President Harris,
Speaker Pelosi, Leader Schumer, Leader McConnell, Vice President Pence, my distinguished guests, my fellow Americans. This is America's day. This is democracy's day. A day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew, and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people, has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. So now, on this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation, we come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries. As we look ahead in our uniquely American way, restless, bold, optimistic, and set our sights on the nation we know we can be and we must be. I thank my predecessors of both parties for their presence here today. I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I know the resilience of our Constitution and the strength of our nation, as does President Carter, who I spoke with last night, who cannot be with us today, but whom we salute for his lifetime in service.
All right. Yeah.
I've just taken the sacred oath each of those patriots have taken. The oath first sworn by George Washington. But the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we the people who seek a more perfect union. This is a great nation. We're good people. And over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far, but we still have far to go. We'll press forward with speed and urgency, for we have much to do in this winter of peril and significant possibilities. Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain. Few people in our nation's history have been more challenged or found a time more challenging or difficult than the time we're in now. Once-in-a-century virus that silently stalks the country. It's taken as many lives in 1 year as America lost in all of World War II. Millions of jobs have been lost. Hundreds of thousands of businesses closed. A cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer. A cry for survival comes from the planet itself. A cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism, that we must confront and we will defeat. To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity. In another January, on New Year's Day in 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. When he put pen to paper, the president said, and I quote, "If my name ever goes down into history, it'll be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." My whole soul is in it. Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this. Bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause.
Okay, I will.
Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness, and hopelessness. With unity, we can do great things, important things. We can right wrongs. We can put people to work in good jobs. We can teach our children in safe schools. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make health care secure for all. We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world. I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. I know the forces that divide us are deep and they are real. But I also know they are not new. Our history has been a constant struggle between the American ideal that we're all are created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization have long torn us apart. The battle is perennial, and victory is never assured. Through Civil War, the Great Depression, World War, 9/11, through struggle, sacrifice, and setbacks, our better angels have always prevailed. In each of these moments, enough of us have come together to carry all of us forward. And we can do that now. History, faith, and reason show the way of unity. We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature. For without unity, there is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge. And unity is the path forward. And we must meet this moment as the United States of America. If we do that, I guarantee you we will not fail. We have never, ever, ever, ever failed in America. We've acted together. And so today, at this time, in this place, let's start afresh. All of us. Let's begin to listen to one another again. Hear one another. See one another. Show respect to one another. Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured. My fellow Americans, we have to be different than this. America has to be better than this. And I believe America is so much better than this. Just look around. Here we stand in the shadow of the Capitol Dome, as was mentioned earlier, completed amid the Civil War, when the Union itself was literally hanging in the balance. Yet we endured. We prevailed. Here we stand, looking out on the great mall where Dr. King spoke of his dream. Here we stand where 108 years ago, at another inaugural, thousands of protesters tried to block brave women marching for the right to vote. And today, we mark the swearing in of the first woman in American history elected to national office, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Vice President Kamala Harris. All right.
Here we stand across the Potomac from Arlington Cemetery, where heroes who gave the last full measure of devotion rest in eternal peace. And here we stand, just days after a riotous mob thought they could use violence to silence the will of the people, to stop the work of our democracy, to drive us from this sacred ground. It did not happen. It will never happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Not ever. To all those who supported our campaign, I'm humbled by the faith you've placed in us. To all those who did not support us, let me say this. Hear me out as we move forward. Take a measure of me and my heart. If you still disagree, so be it. That's democracy. That's America. The right to dissent peaceably within the guardrails of our republic is perhaps this nation's greatest strength. Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did.
All right.
Many centuries ago, St. Augustine, a saint of my church, wrote that a people was a multitude defined by the common objects of their love. Defined by the common objects of their love. What are the common objects we as Americans love that define us as Americans? I think we know. Opportunity, security, liberty,
wonderful,
dignity, respect, honor, and yes, the truth.
The truth.
Recent weeks and months have taught us a painful lesson. There is truth and there are lies. Lies go for power and for profit. And each of us has a duty and a responsibility as citizens, as Americans, and especially as leaders. Leaders who have pledged to honor our Constitution and protect our nation, to defend the truth, defeat the lies. Look, I understand that many of my fellow Americans view the future with fear and trepidation. I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering, can I keep my health care? Can I pay my mortgage? Thinking about their families, about what comes next. I promise you, I get it. But the answer is not to turn inward, to retreat into competing factions, distrusting those who don't look like you, or worship the way you do, or don't get their news from the same sources you do. We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue, rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. We can do this if we open our souls instead of hardening our hearts, if we show a little tolerance and humility, and if we're willing to stand in the other person's shoes, as my mom would say, just for a moment, stand in their shoes. Because here's the thing about life. There's no accounting for what fate will deal you. Some days, when you need a hand. There are other days when we're called to lend a hand. That's how it has to be. It's what we do for one another. And if we are this way, our country will be stronger, more prosperous, more ready for the future. And we can still disagree. My fellow Americans, in the work ahead of us, we're going to need each other. We need all our strength to persevere through this dark winter. We're entering what may be the toughest and deadliest period of the virus. We must set aside politics and finally face this pandemic as one nation. One nation. And I promise you this, as the Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. We will get through this together. Together.
All right. You sure will.
All my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here, we all understand the world is watching all of us today. So here's my message to those beyond our borders. America has been tested, and we've come out stronger for it. We will repair our alliances and engage with the world once again. Not to meet yesterday's challenges, but today's and tomorrow's challenges. And we'll lead not merely by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. We'll be a strong and trusted partner for peace, progress, and security. Look, you all know we've been through so much in this nation. And my first act as president, I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all those who we lost this past year to the pandemic. Those 400,000 fellow Americans, moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. We'll honor them for becoming the people and the nation we know we can and should be. So I ask you, let's say a silent prayer for for those who've lost their lives and those left behind, and for our country. Amen.
Amen.
Folks, this is a time of testing. We face an attack on our democracy and on truth. A raging virus.
Especially my friend Erica's best friend Erica.
The sting of systemic racism.
God bless her soul. I'm sorry. Wait.
America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact is, we face them all at once, presenting this nation with one of the gravest responsibilities we've had. Now we're going to be tested. Are we going to step up? All of us? It's time for boldness, for there's so much to do. And this is certain. I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era. We will rise to the occasion is the question. Will we master this rare and difficult hour? Will we meet our obligations and pass along a new and better world to our children? I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well. I believe we will. And when we do, we'll write the next great chapter in the history of the United States of America, the American story. A story that might sound something like a song that means a lot to me. It's called American Anthem. There's one verse that stands out, at least for me, and it goes like this. The work and prayers of century have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Let's us add our own work and prayers to the unfolding story of our great nation. If we do this, then when our days are through, our children and our children's children will say of us, they gave their best, they did their duty, they healed the broken land. My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I'll give all of you, keep everything I do in your service, thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answer the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die in our watch but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world. That is what we owe our forebears, one another, and generation to follow. So, with purpose and resolve, we turn to those tasks of our time, sustained by faith, driven by conviction, devoted to one another and the country we love with all our hearts. May God bless America, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, America.
You're welcome, Mr. Biden. And I apologize for being rude. Even though you're not here in person, I apologize. All right?
Joseph Robinette
wait.
has been sworn in and assumed the office of the presidency, the 46th president of the United States, the oldest man ever to assume the presidency at 78 years old, delivering a speech the themes of unity, of hope, of rewriting an American history, a new chapter
And
in American history.
I want to apologize
saying
to
this
Jennifer
country
Lopez.
come together in common cause.
He says we
What I
must
want to
end
do is
this
apologize
uncivil war
to Jennifer Lopez for talking while she was singing. Even though you're not physically here, I apologize, okay?
democracy and the truth.
Oh, look like
Garth Brooks now. will
Garth
perform.
Brooks, yeah. Yep. He about to sing. He sing real good too. I love country music, honestly. All right. Here we go. Very, very great. Amazing Grace. So it's only gonna sing the music.
Amazing grace,
So
how sweet the sound that saved a wretch
so good.
like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
I sure love his singing though.
If I can ask you to sing this last verse with me.
All
Not
right.
just the people here, but the people at home. At work,
Okay.
as one.
All right.
United.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound
That saved a wretch like me.
Oh, so wonderful.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
All right. Garth Brooks, this is for you. This is for you. All right.
Garth Brooks performing for the crowd there over the.
Yep.
On the
There go
west
Lester
front
Holt
of the
right there.
Capitol,
You know, speaking.
moments ago we
This is
heard
it. This is it.
inauguration speech by President Biden. We'll get used to saying
Okay.
that now.
So
President
It's
Biden.
a new era and a new day in Washington as the Constitution decreed at 12 noon.
Decreed.
The term of the prior president ends, and the prior vice president, and there is a new president and vice president, President Biden and Vice President Harris. And
all right.
Obama's singing that same song at the Mother Emanuel Church.
Okay. Excuse me.
A song that in our culture is as close to both poetry and prayer as you could possibly come.
I want to Spice One watching this.
Those two things
I will hope Spice is watching this. Bone Thugs.
First ever national poet laureate.
Who else? Anybody else I've been rude to that while watching this? I apologize. Okay. I don't mean to be rude, you know. Oh, here comes somebody. What was she gonna say? Try not to be rude though. Amanda Gorman recite poem.
Mr. President, Dr. Biden,
Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gaze not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it. Because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it in its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the west. We will rise from the wind-swept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Congrats. Wonderful. Oh, man, it's for you.
She was 22 years old from Los Angeles. What a just powerful, beautiful piece of poetry she just delivered.
Yeah, that was.
Well, you'd hate to follow her.
Well,
She did.
that's all I'm gonna do right now. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna continue watching the rest of it after I get off. You know. So anyway, congratulations, Joe Biden. Okay. Congratulations to President Biden, I should say, and congratulations to Vice President Harris. Okay, all right. So we all enjoy this day. It's a blessing. Okay, thank y'all for watching this. Okay, I'm gonna watch the rest of it. So anyway, this is Dominoes Seven reminding y'all: help control the pet population. Have y'all pets spayed and neutered. Okay, like Bob Barker would say. Okay. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. God bless y'all, and you can bet your last money, okay? I wish y'all love, peace, and soul, and God bless y'all, all right? Bye.